Like, think about this. When you're constantly told and it's implanted into your subconscious mind, oh, you're evil, you're wicked, you're mentally ill, you're this, you're that, right? Hey sweethearts, it's theeNickVenus. Once again, welcome to the channel. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on all post notifications so you can be notified every time I upload. So, in this video, I'll be talking about detransitioning. And as somebody that knew they were trans since the age of 5, I can honestly say that I believe people that detransition are not transgender at all. And honestly, I'm going to ask you something. If you're somebody that's considering transitioning, I want to ask you, would you consider A, $200,000 cash and never get the chance to transition ever? Or would you choose to transition and not get the money? If you chose A, $200,000, you are not transgender. There is a reason trans people go through depression. Some trans people harm themselves, some do more. There's a reason for it. So if you chose the money over transitioning, a true trans person that's transgender within the mind and the heart would choose their transition over damn near any amount of money. So if you chose the cash, then you are not transgender. Being trans is not a game. So the people that transition and then detransition, I believe they are not transgender. For example, like let's say somebody's like a femboy, right? And one day they're like, you know what, let me wear some makeup, let me put some girl clothes on. And they're like, oh, I look good as a girl, I would make a good girl. And people are telling them, right, they're implanting that into their subconscious, saying, oh, you would make a good girl, you look good, right? So they're like, yeah, you know what, you're right, I would make a good girl. So they dive in head first into transitioning. And then they realize, after they started transitioning for so long, they realize, wait a minute, I'm not trans, and they start detransitioning. That's why I say it's not a game. And honestly, there's not that many people that detransition. You know, like it's a very small percent. Transphobes like to grab one detransition story and paint it all over the place and say, oh, see, look, they're all detransitioning. Being transgender doesn't exist. Now that's something that they like to say. Transgender doesn't exist. Look in the dictionary and tell me, do you see that name in there? If you see that name, then please hush your mouth, because it does exist. So yeah, but the people that are not trans, they're diving into transitioning, and they're detransitioning, and they're giving actual trans people a bad name. That's what they're doing. And they're making it look like a joke. And trans folks, they like to force themselves on people. Trans folks love to manipulate people. So what they try to do is try to say, oh, you know what, you're a man, you're a straight man, act like a straight man, dress like this, walk like this, talk like this, correct, right? So I want the trans folks to open up their mind from their limited perception and think from other perceptions for once. So imagine if somebody told you, if you were a straight man, right, you're a biological straight man, and they said, if you do not do what we say, we're gonna go against you. We're gonna beat you up. We're gonna bring you down to the basement and beat you up on a regular basis if you do not do what we say. And what we want from you, what we're gonna force upon you, is we want you to grow your hair out, get laser, get electrolysis, start wearing makeup, start wearing female clothing. Now mind you, it's a domino effect as well. So it not only just affects your physical appearance, it affects your whole life. So in turn, you're forcing somebody to detransition, you're forcing them to act like a straight male, and then in turn you're saying, oh, this is not right, you should be attracted to men. So essentially you're forcing them to be with somebody that they do not even want to be with. So that's like forcing this man that's straight to be with another man. So essentially that's what you guys are doing. He's now forced to walk, talk, act like a woman, dress like a woman, you know, long hair, makeup. Now he's getting his nails done, he's going to the salons, now he's forced to date other men. Now he's, you know, it's a domino effect. It affects your whole entire life. Do you honestly think if somebody forced you to do that, do you honestly think you would be able to do that for like a week or two without falling into deep, dark depression? Of course you wouldn't. Nobody would. So transphobes, they need to see from other perceptions. That's essentially what you guys are trying to force upon us. You're trying to take away the essence of a person. And you know, they like to call us mentally ill or whatever. They all like to say, oh, they're so mentally ill. But it's mentally ill for somebody to think they know somebody outside of them better than they know themselves. That's mentally ill. When you come into this world, you come into this world alone. When you leave this world, you leave this world alone. When you go to sleep, you go to sleep alone. When you wake up alone. When you're going through depression, you're going through depression alone. Literally, you're always by yourself. Nobody knows you more than you know yourself. So for an outsider to say, oh, I know this stranger more than they know themselves and truly believe that, that's the definition of mentally ill. No shade. Going back to what I was saying, how people are transitioning and then detransitioning, I believe that's what it is. And honestly, I think a very, very, very small percentage of those detransitioners are detransitioning because of guilt. Because when you're told, like, think about this, when you're constantly told and it's implanted into your subconscious mind, oh, you're evil, you're wicked, you're mentally ill, you're this, you're that, right?
Your ass belong to me.
Why would they not want my help?
Because they don't give a damn about you. They don't like you. I don't like you.
I don't care. I'm here for the girl.
The girl don't like you. Nobody likes you.
You're constantly being told this over and over, all these negative things. Few people start to believe that. So honestly, I believe very few are detransitioning for that reason. Because the transphobes implanted that into their subconscious mind. You know, it's kind of like, how can I say it? It's almost like anorexia or something. Let's say a woman has a husband and the husband always calls her fat, but she's skinny, right? He calls her fat all the time. So she starts starving herself even though she's not fat. Then she starts to believe, maybe I'm fat.
I can't stop eating.
That's the same thing. You're playing mental games with somebody's mind. So now they're thinking, maybe I am negative, maybe I am evil, maybe I am this. So then they're like, okay, I'm just gonna detransition. But if they're truly trans, they're always gonna be trans within here forever. So all they're gonna do is change the aesthetics, you know? And honestly, I heard about this. I heard a trans woman say this before. I can't remember what her name was, but she said somebody was, you know, they detransitioned for that reason. They can't believe it. Maybe I am evil, maybe it is wrong, maybe this, that, third, right? They detransitioned, you know, physically, and they were always in misery. They literally would be crying themselves to sleep. They were always in misery after that. So, yeah, so it's not right. And the reason why biological men and biological women don't understand is because they don't see from different perceptions. Because if they looked at it from a different perception, you know, they would think differently. Because it's like grabbing someone's life and manipulating it and turning it into what you think it should be. So essentially, you're trying to make us into a slave. You're trying to make us into something we're not. So what gives you the right to manipulate and control somebody and think you have the right to say who they can and can't be? That is mentally ill. That's psychotic. If you think you have some type of control on somebody outside of you and you think you know that person better than they know themselves, that is mentally ill. They like to call us mentally ill. No, that is mentally ill. So yeah, so I just wanted to talk about this situation because I noticed that transphobes will take one detransitioner story and then blow it out of proportion and say, see, they're all detransitioning, see that? So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe for future content. And until next time, guys.